Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to turn what they know into what they're known for. Download your book free at booksgrowbusiness.com. Joining me on this segment is Patricia Griswold. She's one of the co-founders of First Choice Business Brokers, the office in Richmond, Virginia. Patricia, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Patricia, tell us a little bit about your work and specifically, who are the types of folks that you help?
Okay. Well, basically, what we do is fairly simple. Well, maybe not simple, but to explain it, we help people buy and sell businesses. Selling your business is a big deal. People have, there's a lot of business owners that they've been in business 30, 40 years or 20 years, and it's a big deal. And they don't know how to navigate that landscape. A lot of people don't even know business brokers even exist. So unfortunately, we find people, thinking that they have to close their business.
To your point, you say the concept is simple, but the process isn't necessarily easy. And I always say easy is hard to spell.
Yeah, so, exactly.
As you mentioned, a lot of folks don't understand or even know that the service of a business broker exists. So kind of tell us what is the biggest challenge when a business owner is considering selling their business and they don't know where that you guys exist? What is their biggest challenge that's like on their mind right now?
Well, a lot of people, I'll be honest with you, a lot of business owners wait too late in the process. They come to us and they look for guidance when they're tired. They've been in business a long time, or they're tired of what they want to move on to another business. They're tired of employees. There's lots of different reasons why they want to get out of the business. So we always like to get to business owners before they really want to sell. Because sometimes when a business owner is tired and wore out, it shows in their business, and it also shows, sometimes their sales decline. But they don't, and a lot of them just don't understand the process. I think, one thing that I get a lot is, I don't want my customers to know. I don't want my employees to know. I don't want my vendors to know. It's a valid concern. And so when we do engage with somebody and we do advertise their business, we advertise it confidentially. So people don't, business owners don't have to worry about that. We keep everything confidential. And when people call in, we make them sign a non-disclosure agreement. And then we still don't give out personal information about the name of the business, the address. We make sure that they can financially afford the business.
This is what I really love about segments like this, is it really gets the education out there, and hopefully it's ahead of time, before they're tired and before it's too late. Let's unpack that a little bit, because as you mentioned, when they are tired and it's too late, it's too late. Let's help them before that point. What should they be thinking of and considering, and how far ahead before they want to sell their business it would be a good time to start thinking about it?
I would say 3 years, maybe 2 years. Definitely, another thing, we find people want to sell their business because their lease is up in a couple months. Well, that's not good. But yeah, and they need to sell their business when their business is doing good. And so I always say, if it just pops in your mind, give us a call. We always we do no cost business valuations. So we can show them what their business is worth today. And then let's say they don't like that figure, or, they were expecting more, then we can help them at a high level and say, well, if you want a certain number, this is what you need to change, and this is what you need to do.
You mentioned some of the business owners, they say, oh, I don't want anyone to know that I'm selling. Let's unpack that a little bit. What are some of the big concerns, and why are they concerns? Let's start with that, the disclosure and the confidentiality.
Okay. So, it is a valid concern, because lots of times if the employees know that a business owner is selling, they get scared, they get worried, and they get concerned, and, sometimes they exit early. And they don't even get a chance to meet the new owner. And people, some business owners think that they could put a for sale sign up in front of their business, and we're going like, no, absolutely not. Don't do that because you don't want your vendors to know, you don't want your employees to know, and you don't want your customers to know because your customers can get worried and concerned too.
I can see how that could totally affect the value of the business if you're losing the staff and losing the whole product itself. So, what's another big concern besides the confidentiality?
The paperwork that's involved. Well, mainly people just don't understand the process. So the process really is first the valuation, and you come upon agreed upon price, of how, what to sell the business for. Then after that, we market it. We do a lot of digital marketing. We have buyer pools. First Choice Business Brokers is a franchise. We have over like 100 different franchisees across the United States. So all of us have different buyers, right? We have buyers wanting to buy businesses. We let them know that we have buyers. We're not scared to go door knocking. We do what I call old school marketing. So we do a lot of the marketing, but again, it's all done confidentially. And then it also, if they were to do it on themselves, they would get a lot of phone calls, and we call them tire kickers, people that, that can't qualify to buy a business, or just being nosy, and things like that. So we definitely save them a lot of time. And the best thing about us is we do not get paid until we sell the business. So we work on commission and we do all this work and we get paid, at closing.
Right on. Patricia, what inspired you to get into this field to begin with? How did you get started as a business broker?
Okay, that's interesting because 10 years ago, my husband and I had 8 tax offices, and he had like a graphics design and print shop. And we were those owners that we were tired, we were wore out. We wanted out. So we decided to sell all our businesses, and we sold them on our own, all except for 2. And we did make some mistakes, not major, thank goodness. We did leave a little money on the table, but, so we only had 2 businesses left, and that was like being semi-retired. But then I was introduced to First Choice Business Brokers, and I went, oh, I didn't know business brokers really existed either. So I told my husband, I said, we'd be good at this because we know how to buy businesses, we know how to run businesses, and we know why people want to sell. So we sort of got out of semi-retirement, and, we wake up and we love what we do because we can really, I think we can relate to the people that want to sell, and we can relate to the people that want to buy businesses.
I really love folks that practice what they preach. So not only do you do it, but you've been through it yourself. So you've learned both sides of the fence. Patricia, before I ask you my last question, is there anything in regards to selling a business that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to share with business owners that are anywhere in their life cycle of their business?
Yes, one thing is important is people like businesses that have processes and procedures in place that, a business owner can walk out and go on vacation. One of the first questions we ask is how much, from a buyer, they're going like, how many weeks a year does that seller go on vacation? And that's a funny question to ask, but it does, provides a lot of insight. But yes, I would say get your processes and procedures in place, and employees too. I mean, people like businesses that have employees. They don't like buying a business that just has the owner operator and that's the only person, because they say they're buying a job.
Sage advice for business owners listening, whether they're really behind the 8 ball or whether they're catching your message that they need to start early, that would love to connect with you and learn more. How can they find you?
Okay, we have a website. It's businesses for sale in richmondva.com. Again, my name is Patricia Griswold, First Choice Business Brokers. You can just Google us and we'll show up.
Patricia, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That was Patricia Griswold with First Choice Business Brokers in Richmond, Virginia. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done to turn what they know into what they're known for and become the obvious choice. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and take care. We'll see you again next time.